I'm here with Phil of Whitechapel to talk about Hymns in Dissonance, out March 7th, my birthday, on Metal Blade Records. Thank you very much for taking the time. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to have you on the channel.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about this record. I'm one of the lucky few that perhaps have had a chance to listen to the album multiple times, back to front, front to back. I absolutely love the record. I actually mentioned on Facebook yesterday that if you guys are jizzing over the singles, wait until you hear the whole thing. This shit slaps harder than Tim Lambesis. So, having said that, coming off The Valley and Kin, two very successful records, but very differently, both vocally and sonically from this album, what did you guys feel like it was important for this record to achieve?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just to make something, kind of menacingly heavy. We just wanted to, uh, just, do what we were doing, in the beginning of our career, with Somatic Defilement, This Is Exile, New Era of Corruption. We just really wanted to, revisit that and, just make something just as heavy as we possibly could, and just it was just a lot of fun revisiting, kind of like the roots of where we come from and what we're known for.
A lot of the fans have been talking about that in the singles, in the comment sections of the videos, how this is a return to the roots for Whitechapel. I saw obviously elements of your earlier records on this record, but I also see elements that you guys could definitely push forward into new albums. Do you look at this record not only as a little bit of a blast from the past, but also, things that we can do better going forward into future records?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it was definitely um kind of like the roots, but with a modern take on it. So I mean, we yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of things that we could take, and improve on, and also just continue to evolve as newer records are written and recorded. And yeah, I mean, it's I'm excited for the future. I mean, I'm very happy and very pleased with this album, and just can't wait for everyone to hear it.
I think it's a huge tip of the hat to you guys. 9 albums and including this one, an incredible discography, an incredible longevity as far as the band is concerned. And you guys on this record, you sound as hungry as you did on the debut album.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was I just wanted to have a big variety of sounds and everything, and I just really I guess, just had like a little bit of a fire lit under me, just because, we were just writing heavy stuff again. And I just wanted to, um, not just make the same records from the earlier days, and, just really, um, uh, yeah, just hone in on on the skills that I had, and, just improve on them.
Does the legacy of the band weigh heavy on your shoulders?
Um, I guess I would be lying if I said, you know, no, but at the same time, I don't really, I don't, I don't, I don't really care, I guess, necessarily. We're just having fun, and we all obviously want to uh, uphold our integrity and everything. But we just want to make music, and just have fun with it, and you know, just just be along for the ride, and be grateful that we are along for the ride.
Did the title of the record was born before the record or while you guys were making these songs, the idea for this title shine through?
It was during the writing process. The title is always something that it's hard to come up with the title, because you don't want it to be corny, and you don't want it to be just uninspired. And I usually just write lyrics, and kind of base it off of what I'm writing. And like like I had that lyric in the song Hymns and Dissonance, and I I was like, that sounds like a cool album title, just like, the songs or the hymns and whatnot. And that's just kind of how that was came to be.
I think it's really cool, by the way. There's a fine line between corny and cool, and I think you guys hit the cool side, not the corny side on this one. But speaking of lyrics, I have to ask you about this because I think it's the greatest call out line, whatever you want to call it, on the album, on Diabolical Slumber. Fuck them all, let them all die. When you say that on that track, it stopped me on my tracks. Like I was like, shit, this is killer. This is heavy. Did you
Mhm.
feel it when you were putting that together?
Sorry, excuse me. Sneeze just hit me. Yeah, I mean, it was yeah, I mean, it's a very just kind of brutal line, it's uh it's kind of like just very yeah, I mean, I was there's a few lyrics on this album that I was kind of like, I wonder if, people are going to be upset about this or, offended by it or at the same time. But at the same time I don't really care. So um but yeah, I mean, it yeah, that line I thought was pretty hard. And I yeah, I just love making, just messed up, fucked up kind of sounding stuff. So I just really just went crazy with it and just said, you know what, who cares? What people are gonna think or whatever, and just yeah, just went for it.
I think it's great because it's not just about the line, it's about how you get to that line in terms of the lyrical content and how the song musically also gets to that point where that line hits super hard, making, I mean, for me, Diabolical Slumber is my favorite track on the record. So the question is, have you guys ever thought about that song as a possible single when you're putting the singles together?
Yeah, I mean, it was really difficult to determine what we wanted to make as singles, and uh that was one song I was like, yeah, I don't know, man, we should, maybe try to make that a single. And uh I don't think that we are making it a single, which is, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, um again, just like with all the tracks on the record, it was hard to like really just determine which ones we wanted to make a single. And that was one that was heavily considered.
Well, yeah, because when I was listening to the album, I like the singles, don't get me wrong, but I'm listening to the album and I'm hit with Prisoner 666, the opening track, which I think has like total potential for a single. Then Hate Cult Ritual, another one. I mean, this album technically is just single after single after single after single.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was very difficult. Hate Cult Ritual is going to be a single. Um and well, we haven't determined necessarily what because the first three singles are of course, Visceral, Hymns, and then Hate Cult is the next one. Um but nothing is coming for any of us. That's one that we're heavily considering making a single. And of course, again, Diabolic Slumber is just uh yeah, it's very difficult. It's a, you get torn on what you want to, really promote and put out there.
On this album, I felt like you guys created such a nice harmony between extremely heavy breakdowns and then really melodic guitar solos. Within a genre that fan base tends to swing the pendulum more towards the breakdowns, because that's always what I get asked whenever I'm doing a review is like, what song has the heaviest breakdown? Nobody ever asked me what song has the coolest solo. How do you guys
Yeah.
find that balance between including having those breakdowns, which is such an integral part of the genre, but then also adding those guitar solos?
Yeah, I mean, it's because death metal in of itself is doesn't really have those elements. And I'm very inspired by death metal. It's like what that's like my favorite genre of metal of all time. But yeah, I mean, we just try to have those slammy breakdown parts because people love them, we love them. um and we just try to do them as tastefully as we can because it is hard to um, incorporate them and make them not sound so forced, and actually have them naturally kind of go into that part. I think one of the masters of that was, I mean, I think the original kind of like breakdown uh, type of stuff was like Pantera. With on Far Beyond Driven, just whenever they had those like kind of like slower, groovy or slammy parts, like they just were so natural feeling, and that's what we strive to do, and not just kind of force them in there.
Well, when it comes to, I mean, we talked a little bit about the lyrics, but when it comes to the lyrics, do you write after the songs are put together and having the song's vibe in mind as you put the lyrics, or you just write all the time and kind of have like a collection of lyrics sitting around?
No, I never pre-write. I always write two songs. I just always like to look at it as kind of like the puzzle pieces. You're just fitting them in there, um, because I like to have a certain type of flow to to what I'm saying. I'm a big hip hop fan, so I like to have like certain types of cadences and rhyme schemes, and um because whenever you pre-write and then you try to force in the lyrics, I've always had there's some people that can do it, but for me personally, it's a lot harder to pre-write and then try to fit it in there. There are things that I think about even before a song's written, and just kind of have like a thought in my head of like, what this would sound cool. But for the most part, I'm doing it to the music instead of before it.
In the last video you guys released, Hymns and Dissonance, when we did our reaction review on the comments section, the amount of comments of people saying that you are the greatest deathcore singer of all time, OG, like such incredible compliments from the fan base. When you hear stuff like that, or when you see stuff like that, how do you feel about it?
It's very flattering. I I just really think that um, it's all up to because music is so subjective. But I'm very flattered and very appreciative and just grateful that people could even say something like that about me. Just even as a human being. Um, I definitely don't think that about myself. I just because it's all for everyone else to determine. Um, but it's because I don't like to have an ego. I don't like to think that I'm better than anyone else. And of course, again, music is so subjective that it's just something that um, is I'll accept it. I'll take the flattery, but at the end of the day, I just love to do what I do, and um, just let everyone else determine everything.
But now I'm going to ask you to analyze a little bit of yourself on this record. When you look at this album, how do you feel your performance was on this record?
I'm very very pleased with it. There's I don't listen to anything and wish I would have done anything differently. And that's what's the most important to me. As long as I'm okay with it, and and especially with what we were doing, I was making sure that I was satisfied and that I didn't want to do anything different. Uh, are there always things that you could go back and maybe try something new, or um, you know, try to perfect it a little bit more? Sure, but I think at the end of the day, when it comes to metal, metal is not supposed to be perfection. It's supposed to just be, kind of raw and uh, it's supposed to be a perfectly imperfect kind of music. It's it's very yeah, just raw and um, just just kind of like those earlier metal albums, just kind of how some of them had like garage sounding recordings, like those albums are beautiful, and just like what they captured. And granted, in this day and age, things are a little bit more produced and a little cleaner sounding, but yeah, I mean, I'm totally happy with how everything turned out.
Well, when you look at your vocal performance on The Valley and Kin, and now you look at Hymns and Dissonance, what style of record you find it to be more challenging for you?
Between the Valley and Kin or and this one or just the Valley and Kin?
No, the Valiant Kin together as kind of as one, and then
Oh,
this.
okay, okay. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that they have their own challenges in and of themselves. Singing and doing things like that is like it's very hard to make something sound very catchy and inspired. And with screaming, there's not really any sort of like notes you're hitting. So it's all you don't have to worry about any sort of like uh, I guess you could say like uh, like the tuning of your voice and and like notes that you're hitting with screaming. It's just all kind of straightforward. Um, but I would say that yeah, I mean the Valley and Ken were more challenging just because again we weren't very familiar with um doing singing and stuff like that and making everything very memorable and catchy and um yeah, I mean it's because again this style of music that we do on this record, that's what we know, those are our roots and what we've made multiple albums of, so those were definitely more challenging. And and they were great, they were fun, we wanted to experiment and just really um challenge ourselves. And not to say we didn't challenge ourselves on this record, but it was more just a different realm for us to explore.
Yeah, so the choice not to go with any clean singing on this album, was that a clear choice from the get-go for you?
Yeah, yeah. I just think that again, the fans really love us for what we started out as, and I just really wanted to make something that was just very just straightforward, just old school, death metal, deathcore kind of album. Just kind of I was kind of itching for something like that, and then I would even say. Um, because our we I feel like our albums went in like like threes. The first three albums were very similar to each other, and then we kind of went a different direction for the next three, and then these three that we just did, we kind of just broke that cycle, and just wanted to just revisit what where it all started, and yeah, I just wanted to make something just brutal and heavy again, and just because I think the singing was called for the subject matter of the previous two records, and with the kind of content that I wanted to do lyrically with this one, singing maybe could have worked, but I didn't want to focus on it.
And speaking of focus, you guys got to stay focused because there's a huge North American tour coming up with Brand of Sacrifice, 200 Stab Wounds, and Alluvial. Brand of Sacrifice being a local hometown band for me. I'm from Toronto. Uh, from on that tour, since you guys are headlining, you're going to have more time. How much of this record is going to be showcased on this North American headlining run?
Yeah, we haven't made our set list yet, but we're definitely gonna be playing a lot of new songs, and just kind of like the more old school, mixed with the old school music. And yeah, I mean, we're very excited. I think Brand of Sacrifice, those guys have been killing it. We've toured with them once before, and they have a very, very down-tuned, heavy, just like beat down kind of sound, but also just like very they're very unique, and they're great guys. 200 Stab Wounds, it's got that traditional kind of old school classic metal sound. Those guys are sick. And Alluvial, I mean, I think Alluvial has probably one of the best guitar players on the planet right now. In Wes,
Wes.
that guy is unbelievable. I mean, I think just he is very, very criminally underrated, and I think he's, as far as like metal goes, probably you know the best metal guitar player out there right now.
I would have to agree on all of the above. I have to ask you this because earlier in the later last year, earlier into this year, I decided to join the gym because I had a goal for 2025, which actually I had two goals. One was to go shirtless in the pit, and two was to crowd surf for the first time. Are you guys going to play Diabolical Slumber so I can do both?
I think that we should. I'm not gonna guarantee it because I don't want to let you down. But I will definitely make that a point uh, to the guys that I do believe that we should play it because I think it's a heavy hitter on the album, and specific, and even if we don't play it on the full tour, specifically for you guys at the Toronto show. I think we
Please,
should.
please.
Absolutely.
I'll crowd surf and I'll give you a fist bump once I get to the rail.
Perfect. That sells it for me.
All right, let's make it happen. Now, last question for you is I saw you guys last time you were in Toronto on that Lorna Shore tour.
Mhm.
Obviously, there you had more of a limited time frame as far as your set is concerned. Do you prepare vocally differently depending if it's a headlining run or if it's a support run?
Um, no, not really. I would say for me, um, at the end of the day, maybe I'll try to take a little bit longer of a break in between songs, but for the most part, not really. I because there's not really anything you can do as far as because whether it's 30 minutes to an hour, um, yeah, it can be a little bit more taxing. I would say for me now that I'm not as young as I was, I'm 40 now and doing it for 20 years. Um, even in the beginning, we were touring more than we ever were nowadays. We don't tour nearly as much as we did when we first started. And with age and everything, it can definitely be harder. But you know, it's still something that I've been able to kind of condition my body to handle. And yeah, it just kind of just go with the flow and just do it and you know just be uh, mindful of myself and try to make sure I'm taking care of myself on the road. That's the biggest thing for sure.
Breakdowns are keeping you young because I honestly thought you were like 27 or something. You don't look a day over 30.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm the numbers don't lie. I'm technically I'm 39, but I'm on the furthest side of 30.
Listen, I'm 46. When I look at you and I look at me, we look like we're 20 years apart. So whatever it is that you're doing, keep doing it because it's keeping you young and fresh.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Phil, the only other thing I have to say to you is that when I watch you guys on that Lorna Shore tour, you guys showcased how tight of a band you are live. Like incredible musicianship from you, from everybody. I don't think I've ever seen a band within this style, within this genre, as tight as you guys are live. And that is something that I wanted to mention to you because sometimes you hear bands and you see bands and it becomes very sloppy. But you guys, wow, it's like I was listening to the record. Incredible performance from that standpoint.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we really like to present ourselves as professionally and as best as we can, and and that's we owe it to the fans, to sound as best as we can, and we just try our best, and I very much appreciate that compliment.
Phil, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I'll be at the Toronto show, shirtless in the pit, and if Diabolical Slumber hits, man, you're gonna see me. You're gonna see me all the way to the rail.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. Appreciate you so much.
Love it. Thank you, man. Thank you. All the best with the album release on March 7th.
All right. Thank you very much. You have yourself a good day, sir.
Take care, man. Bye.
Bye.